Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to the new show. Thanks for coming and hanging out. It's been a little nerve-wracking for me because I've had such bad allergies, and so I was thinking, I hope we can do this. But I've already had. I'll just say Robin. Robin's been popping in kind of here and there, and I feel like it's to like ease my worry. But at one point he and I said, you need to stand back a little bit this time because I'm an empath, right? So all the feelings I could feel, and his energy is very strongly. It's joy. But it makes you laugh. There's a I think that's the only way that we can kind of, we can kind of, that's how it works. It kind of works through us or something, because I could not stop laughing. So I'm like, you have to stand back just a little bit to give me a little bit of room so that I'm not like, yeah. Hi, Kevin Lewis and Kelly and everybody. But he popped in at one point. I was just like sitting on the couch, just like, I think I was just working. And he said, tell me that's not what you're wearing. So he was just trying to like make me feel okay but it just made me crack up. But was a couple of things before we start. He's here, I can feel it. A couple of things before we start. One is that Cassie said, I'm going to make your new thumbnail for the show. And I said, oh, great. And I told her that the first, that I took her recommendation that the first guest would be him. And so she's like, oh, great. So I'll go ahead and send it over. And when she sent it over, I nearly fell on the floor because it looked, if you see the thumbnail that was up, that's almost exactly what he looked like to me and I've never seen him really look like that. When he was young, I remember him having lots of hair and kind of longer hair, like in Mork and Mindy and stuff. And and I'm sure he did look at that like that at one point, but I've never seen him look like that except in my mind's eye. And in my mind's eye, I remember he was wearing white and like a white shirt. And so minus the tie, minus the jacket, but his hair and stuff and the age he was looked so unfamiliar to me except in my mind's eye. So when she sent that over, I was like, oh, this is great. This is going to be great. So, but I just knew it was like, and I've gotten little signs all along the way because I've asked for them. So you need to ask for signs if you're worried, if you're nervous, and then look for them. See, they will show up. Today I was having my last bout with nerves. As I said, it kind of popped in through the day. And I asked my guides to just give me something tangible, something like in my world that would tell me that that he's going to show up, it's going to be fine, or I'm going to be able to do this and connect. And even through my allergies, I'll be able to do this. And I turned on this it's a British game show. And so I never know the answers, but I was just like, oh, that show. So I put it on. Second question. Top 10 highest ranking box office Robin Williams movies. I'm like, okay, what else do I need? It's going to be fine. It's just scary. It's just scary doing something by yourself and like this. And I'm not like Kevin Lewis. I don't really consider myself to mediumship to be my number one. It's not my comfort zone, but that is part of what this is too, is my guides trying to push me out of my comfort zone because I get a little bit stuck, and I feel like it's them kind of pushing me out, being like, you need to do these things and put yourself in a. Thank you, Kevin. Yeah, it was amazing. So, and then the question is, why would famous people talk to us? Why would people that we didn't know, that we didn't really have any connection with, and why would they, we don't have any familial connection with, why would they talk to us? And for him, there's a couple things. One, Cassie brought to my attention that I didn't know, but one is that if you're an old soul, which probably anybody here is an old soul, I would say, we've all been famous at some point. We all have. We've all had lives where we've been known. And often what I was told by my guides was that a lot of people, when they're older souls, they prefer not to be famous. They don't want to be. And some do. Some will take on that responsibility, but it is a huge responsibility when you're in a space where everybody knows you and everybody kind of follows you, knows what you do. And in some ways, we're all sort of in that space now, right? Because we're all kind of out there with whatever it is, Facebook or this or that. And that a lot of older souls prefer to kind of stay to themselves and work on very nuanced lessons. Things about, that have to do with relationships and kind of the more, in a way, smaller things, but they're just trying to like tweak things because they've kind of done the war and the, the bigger kind of dramatic scenes. But a lot of older souls don't want to take on that kind of responsibility. So that's one thing. We've all been famous. So that's not a thing. And fame is not a thing on the other side. That's not a thing that is, we get hung up on at all. The other thing with him, which Cassie brought to my attention when I was in England, is that she said she was reading a Reddit. And the question was about people's brushes with fame. And she said there was story after story after story about Robin Williams just talking to just random people for like an hour and just hanging out with people. So he had a reputation for kind of being very interested in just people and just wanting to talk to people. And I also felt like, when Cassie brought this idea to me, she said, I think that, this would give the opportunity for people to ask political questions if they want to ask people's, what do you think about this or whatever. It wouldn't be a political show, though. So you'd have the occasional political question so people could still ask that. But it would be such a nice energy. It would be the kind of energy I think people need right now, which is some fun and some joy, right? And so whoever we bring in is going to have that. We're not going to bring in, some mean weirdo. We're not going to do that, right? We're going to bring in people that we really like. And so it will add that joy element to our lives right now, which we all need that little shot of joy. So there's that. So before when I asked him if he would come in, and he said, of course you would. Of course, we're old friends now. Of course you would. I asked him if there was anything that was off limits to talk about, to ask about. And he just said his family. He said he'd rather not talk about his family. And he's like, it's okay if I need to incorporate them in some way, but he'd rather not bring his family into this, that he would like to talk about. And because they're still here, right? He said, even family that's passed, it's fine. But people that are still here, he feels like he wants to let them just kind of live their lives. So that's the only thing. That was it. He said anything else is great. Anything else is great. So I'm going to go up and start. And this show tonight may be 10 minutes. It may be 20 minutes. It may be 30 minutes. I don't know how long I can hold this connection, especially by myself. Before, when I would do mediumship, I'd always kind of be with my girls, Debbie and Andrea. So we would kind of, we shared that energy in a way, and it was a very much a comfort zone thing for me. So I'm going to just see how long I can hold this, and I will answer as many questions as I can. I'm going to try to get a helper next time so that I can just fully, and I'm basically just going to be the connection. You guys are going to be doing the interviewing and the talking and asking about things you want to know. And so I'm going to go ahead and start and ask him to come in. Okay. So he just said, you have got to do something about that green room. So, so he's here. This is him. Because it's the weirdest thing, you guys, because he says the most unexpected, funny things or weird things that I can't even explain how this is. It's just so odd. Okay, so happy girl. Oh, thank you. I hope so. I hope it's uplifting. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Craig, what was more rewarding, playing serious parts like in Awakenings or funny parts like in the Birdcage? Thanks. Okay. So he's saying he's saying he's putting like two, like an angel, and by the way, he looks almost exactly like he did before, and he's all in white again. So I just and the shirt is kind of like a tunic almost. It's kind of like it's almost like pajamas, but like white. But he said, in his life there was always kind of a like two angels. Oh, an angel on each shoulder, and one was kind of like, you like doing kind of fun, light, funny things, and the other part of whom they say, but you need your peers' approval. People need to know you're a good actor. And so he's like, I played this game a long time until I realized I really like doing this like family stuff. So he's saying that he's saying that the things he did later that were kind of family oriented, he loved doing that. He loved doing it. And he loved how the joy it would bring in, that families could go to the movies together. And so he said there was there was a payoff, an ego payoff to the serious role. But he's saying, I liked it all. But I would always have this whenever I do these less serious kind of fun roles, I would have a ball. But in the back of that ego part of me was kind of like, you need to do something that's more, he just said, I'm a thespian. So he needed to do something that was more, serious or whatever. But but he said, I never took a part I didn't like. I liked all the parts that I played, and I liked, and a lot of it would have to do with the people he worked with the director, or this new actor he wanted to work with. So some of it was that kind of thing, but a lot of it was some there'd be that pull back and forth thing. That's not enough to do like the fun role. But he's like, that's what I really, really enjoyed that. And he said there's such he always appreciated when people could just let him go, let him just do his thing, to improvise, because he's like, I would find pockets, and that's how he's putting it. I would find pockets where it's like, yes, this is it. Yes, this is it. And if I could be like, I could have that freedom, then I could find the right joke or the right thing to say. And so whenever I had that, if I knew I was going to have a project with that kind of freedom, it was always a yes, yes, yes. Okay, so that's a really good question, Craig. I'm not going to tell you everything he's saying because I can talk to him. Because when I said, I'll just give you an example. Some things I'll tell you, some things I'm going to have to ignore. But when I just said, good question, Craig, he said, don't let it go to your head, Craig. So there you go. Okay. Okay. Thank you. So Franny asks, how did you compare your role in What Dreams May Come to actually passing? How was it? Okay. So, well, first of all, there were no cameras. So Okay. Okay, so anyway, I get like chills, like just like chills and chills. It's so funny. Okay. Okay. So so one thing that he's saying is that he was greeted right away. There was no, it was like he's saying like this to this. It was so fast. So he was greeted right away, but he's saying that color. There's something about color that he's like, this was it, the way that color was done was it's dulled in comparison, but there is a huge connection and a huge emphasis on color on the other side. And he's like, for example, I don't know what his favorite color was here, but he's saying his favorite color there is green. And he said, because I have never seen green like this. The color is alive. The color hums. There's a song in the color. So he's like, it's unbelievable. It is a marvel, but the way that color was sort of emphasized in the film, that was accurate. That was right on. He's also saying his pets. So pets will come play with you, come greet you, and that was early on as well. So he's saying that. Okay. Thank you for that question. So NJ says, what was it like having that quick of a mind? So his first response, I always feel like the first response is like a joke, and then he'll get to the real response. But he said, cocaine all day long. That's what he said. So it was, I guess it was like being on drugs. And he said being on drugs was not a good idea. So I guess he had an issue with drugs at some point, because he's like being on drugs anyway, and then being more on drugs, not a good idea. He's saying it was a challenge. Because he's saying, as you know, the mind can be a great thing, and it can be your best friend and your worst enemy. So your best friend and your worst enemy, and he's saying that it could really make him depressed. It could really, mess with him. His self-talk wasn't that great for himself. He was very hard on himself. So he's like, in some ways I wasn't, but he said I would get in a mode or a mood that was, I would be hard on myself. So so it could be my best friend or my worst enemy, I think is the answer. Okay. Oh, how sweet. Lake Joyer. If you could have lunch with one person, who would it be? Nice. Okay. It's like, he's like, honey, we'll meet at Sardi's. So there you go. Okay. All right. It's a little intimidating. It is a little intimidating. Okay. Do you hang out with other legendary comic Jonathan Winters? He was a quick-witted as you, dear sir. Okay. So he's like, you're like, you're going to think I'm making this up. but he said we will just like get together and hang out just like you do here. Like you get together in a room and just talk and laugh. And he's saying they go back quite a ways. They have had a lot. They've had a lot of connections. So those conversations are deep and long, he said. So he's saying that there will be just all of these people that had, and he's saying some from like this time, and some are from other times, but that they would get together to discuss and talk about things in their life. And he's saying that he was even involved in sort of his life review. Like there were conversations that took place during his life review, and one of them was with him. But he's saying, I spend a lot of times with a lot of different, people that had passed that I missed, and we spent a lot of time together. And I feel like it has to do with healing as well, on the other side. And he's saying too, when you exit. So this is what he said. I can't do him, obviously, but he said, when you leave the way I did, check please, that there's a lot to work through, and there's you kind of want to kind of look at every every turn and every way that things could have been different, or you could have made different choices and stuff like that. And everybody that was part of your life, when it ends in that way, or in a way that's kind of tragic, or a little sooner than you thought, that everybody wants to help you. Everybody wants to help you heal from whatever has taken place, and heal from that lifetime. So you get a lot of people that want to help you. And so he has a lot of conversations with people like that. It's okay. So he just said, he's like, this guy here. And he said, it's okay if I bring him in. And I just said, it's okay. Oh my God, I just got full chills. So he just brought in Christopher Reeve in his Superman gear. And he said, you need this right now. You need Superman. It's so weird to see him walking. I almost want to cry. He's fine. He's so handsome. He looks great. Okay, so now I'm doing double duty. I don't think he's going to stick around. I just think he wanted to say hi, but Robert just said he's not that great. But I think he's bringing him in to say like this. I like this guy, but I feel like he brought him in for us. He's like, you need Superman right now. Oh, thank you. He's like, now get lost. Oh my gosh, that was so weird and unexpected. I swear, you guys, this is going to be the weirdest show ever. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm going to get, thank you. I'm going to go. Okay, so Mountain Sunshine, I just did one of your questions, so I'll come back to it because you have a lot of good ones. I'm going to see if other people have questions. If not, I'll go back to them. Okay, now conversations. He just said, time is money. Oh my God. Okay. Oh my Lord. Okay, so Mimi says, thank you for all the joy and all the laughs you shared with us. What message would you give us about finding our joy here on earth? What a good question. And he said, no, 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 it was my honor. So he wants to say, okay. He's saying it's actually very easy to find joy. He said, so he's saying like anything that lifts you up, makes you feel all of a sudden up, that's what you're looking for. But when you find it, return to it. Keep going back. And he's also saying, you know, try not to like delve into the past, beat yourself up. You know, I feel like he's almost like saying, like almost like watch where your mind is going, watch what your mind is doing. But he's like finding joy is easy. He's like, you do feel it. You do feel it. You feel that joy, that burst of joy, or that burst, or that feeling of everything's great, everything's good. So if you find that, when you find that, keep returning to it and expand it. Yeah. So he's saying that, you know, early on, he found love that he loved to perform. And he's saying at first it was a one-person audience. It was my mother, I guess mother and father, but mother, he brings up mother, and making her laugh. So, but he said that brought me joy to do that. So the audience just expanded and got bigger and bigger, and that's the way joy is. And he's saying joy wants to expand. So if you find something that you love or brings you joy, keep delving into that and let it just expand. Okay. All right. So that is his answer. Okay. And I did answer about what dreams may come. So can you make Kim say nano nano? So I guess you just did. So, so he said, I love you too. Okay. What does Robin think of the world in its current state? He said it's messy, but it's always been messy. He's like, don't be fooled that, you know, he's kind of like every time thinks it's the worst time, and it's not. He's saying you know, there something goes on over here, something nice happens over here, something bad happens over here, something good happens over here. It's very, but he's like, it's always been very messy. He's calling the earth a creativity hotspot, that he's making me feel like it's all about creativity, being creative. And it's kind of like well, he said a hotspot, right? The ground zero. It's kind of that. It's a place, people that are very, I was about to say interested, and he said intrigued by creativity. It's a place to create differently. We create differently here. Everything is very slow and drawn out. It's not the way we're able to create on the other side. It's different, but it's, he said, you may not believe this, but it is a place that we go to for fast expansion and fun. It's really fun. It's so different. He's saying he's like, parts of it ain't so fun, but he's saying, though, it's up here. It's all up here. So, making sure to be aware of your mind and what you're saying to yourself, and what you're saying to yourself about the world, and things like that. That's what kind of makes you have a positive experience or a hellish one. So he's like, it's all up here. Yeah. Okay. So did you want to say anything else about the room? He really does hope that there will be some big strides made in the next several years for climate change. That's what he's hoping. That's what he hopes for us. He'd like to see that. Okay. Okay. Lily Rose, what do you think about our current president? Gosh, what am I getting into? What am I getting into? Okay, what do you think about it? That's interesting. So he's saying he's a magician. And he's doing this. He's like, and he has you all watching one hand. You need to watch the other hand. So he's saying, like a magician, there'll be one hand that the magician wants you to follow, but really you should be looking at this hand, because this is the hand doing the trick. So, but he's calling him a magician. He works like a magician. An unfunny magician, but a magician. And he's saying, that he sort of thrives in chaotic energy, and so creating chaos is something he does, not because he's consciously thinking he wants everything to be chaotic, but it's where he's comfortable. His energy is very chaotic, and so he's comfortable in a chaotic environment. It makes him feel okay. So he's saying too, there's a lot of things I can't quite say about this, but this is all going to land in a good place eventually. He knows that people are suffering. So, and it is heartbreaking. but there are a lot of, he's like sitting on he's really good with like the mixture of words and then visuals to get me to keep understanding what he's saying. But he's like filling the suitcase and trying to like stuff the suitcase and sitting on the suitcase and trying to close it. And it's like, that's what we've been doing with a lot of our problems and our issues and things that are too big, the problems are too big, so we can't fix it, or it's too hard to fix. So he's saying it's like the suitcase is too full now. And so we've got to open it up and organize it and figure it out. But he said that this is all a if you look at it like a game, the game is to stay away from being afraid, stay away from fear. That's the game. So he's like, I feel like he feels like he's giving us something to know for sure. And how many times have we said that, right? On the channel, stay away from fear, but he's saying that's the game. Stay out of being afraid. You don't have to be afraid. And he's saying a lot of, although it spills out and it might hurt certain, people or groups or things like that, the ultimate hurt is going to come to the people that are doing this. He's almost like it's just, that's the way stuff works. I think he's talking about karma, but he's like, that's the way stuff works. So that's really who needs to be concerned and worried are those people that are putting all this stuff out there, because it's going to come back. And he's saying not the form they expect. So that's interesting, right? Not the form they expect, but it's coming back. And it's just the way things work here. It's just the way things are. It's not personal, right? It's the way things work. And he's saying it works that way to teach us. If you do something bad or negative, and then you have something bad or negative happen to you, you learn what bad and negative feels like. So he's like, it's a learning tool. Karma, or the way that energy works, it's a learning tool for us. And either you learn or you don't learn. And the more you don't learn, the bigger, the louder the lesson gets. Okay, I think I'm going to end with this one because I'm feeling like I'm kind of losing the connection. It's just getting lighter. It's almost like it's not as boom like it was at the very beginning. But I'm going to make this one the last question, and then I'll ask for any parting messages. So, Robin, what are some of your favorite things about heaven? He's kind of like, there's too many to list. But he said one thing and he said, as a celeb, I didn't have to do it as often as so many people have to do. But he's like, I am so glad I don't have to stand in line anymore. So, and it's so funny because he talked about standing in line at Starbucks or something before. But I don't have to stand in line. It's the little things. He's like that you don't miss about Earth, that you're kind of like, I'm glad I don't have to do that anymore. But he's saying that there are a lot of things about heaven that are, or about the other side or the astral realm, which is where I feel like he is. There are so many things that are, it's in a way it's obvious. Like, these are obvious things. Flying. He's like, I knew I could fly. I knew I could fly, but I could never fly. here on Earth in an airplane, But he's like, I knew I could fly. And so flying is great. He's like, oh, the way that my mind worked here is almost more suited to there. Because everything is in an instant. So he's like, it almost feels like I brought some of that with me or something, or like it hung on in some way because everything there is instant. And he's just saying, the bigger things are no pain. You don't lose anybody. You don't lose anything. You're not confused in the way that you are here sometimes. You don't feel alone. You don't feel sad. You still have compassion. So you can, I think I got that. You still can feel for people that are like on the earth plane. You see something happening, you feel for that, but with the understanding that everything's fine. This is just an experience. It doesn't last. It ends, and you come home. He said it's home. It really is home. And he's like, when I say home, I don't mean a dysfunctional home. If you're thinking of like your own home, well, that wasn't great. He's saying that's not. It's the home of your dreams. It's the home of the safest, kindest, most loving place you can think of. That's what it is. Okay, so I'm going to ask him for any parting messages. Any last? I'm almost scared. Like, what is he going to do? What is he going to say? So he just said, "Would this make you more comfortable?" And he started juggling. So he's juggling. I think he's trying to distract me. Okay. Okay, so he just said parting messages. Okay, I'll tell them. I love all of you. I love each and every one of you. You and you and you and you and you and you. Having the life that I did was the greatest adventure. Amazing. And he's saying, trying to be joy and spread joy, it has massive benefits to you as a soul. So as you find your own joy, try to spread joy. And he's kind of like, joy is not a fleeting thing. It's a lasting thing. So, and I think he's trying to talk about happy versus joy. We've talked about that, but he's saying joy it's a lasting thing. So spread it, find it, give it to yourself, and then spread that joy. And he's saying, I can see when I saw okay, I got it. He had no concept of that the butterfly effect was a real thing. He knew it was in some way, but he said to see it as it really plays out is unbelievable. So know that, right? The little kindnesses, the little compliments, the little helping, that it matters so much, and it's that ripple effect. When I saw the ripple effect from one person laughing, I couldn't believe it. He's like, it blew my mind. I had no idea that how important that was. Just one person. So he's saying that, when you spread that, it's that much more impactful. Okay, and he's also saying how important creativity is. So, and he's saying anybody can be creative. It doesn't mean in the arts. Creativity comes in lots and lots of forms. And so in the ways in your life you are creative or can be creative, be creative. He's saying we're way, way, way too hung up on money and fame and accolades and compliments, getting that outside feedback of some kind. And he said, guilty as charged, guilty as charged. But he said, I had money pretty much my whole life. And in the end, that didn't do anything for me. It couldn't do anything for me. So we give it so much importance, but it's not important. It really, really isn't. We don't want to have people living in poverty. We don't want anyone to have to suffer but he said, if everybody could understand this, we wouldn't have that. If people up here could understand that money is not going to do what you want it to do for you, so you can share it, it would be so much healthier and so much better for everybody. So when you create for creative sake, and things will come. The money will come. Things will come, because it's like a positivity magnet is how he's putting it. So in whatever ways you can be creative, be creative. Okay, thank you. So he's saying, this has been my pleasure. Please, okay. Remember me in your prayers. Remember me in your dreams. All the good parts, none of the bad parts. Take care of each other. I love you all. Thank you. That's it. Thank you. So I just got just like the massive chills as he left. Thank you guys so much for doing this. This was really cool. For me, it was really cool. And I'm still just got like chills. I feel like he's just a loving presence, kind, loving presence. Oh, sweet. So thank you, everybody. And thank you for being here to be my support, because I was a little bit, so this is going to be our regular Thursday thing. And thank you. Thanks so much for showing up. And thanks to Jonathan New. I saw Jonathan New here, and Carol Gallagher, and Sharon, and Warren Ukraine. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. It's really a lot of fun. In the comments, not in an email, in the comments, write who you'd like to see come through. And I will put up on my community post page, I'll put the people that I seem to be getting the most, and I'll put it in like a voting thing, and then you guys can decide, because I really want this to be your thing, right? So I want you guys to decide who you'd like to hear from, and then you guys get to conduct the interview, right? I'm just trying to be the conduit. I just sip aside. I know I swear, Lily Rose, when he brought in Chris Rubio, I wanted to burst out in tears, because to see him young and healthy and walking and in his Superman outfit, and I just thought that was the sweetest thing that he brought him through to give us hope, because it was the idea of, you need Superman right now. This is what you need. And we need to find that part of that Superman in all of us right now. We need to do this. So all right, well, thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. And what a great way to kick this series off. It was Cassie's idea. The series was Cassie's idea. And she also said that should be your first guest because he was amazing. So thank you, everybody. And I will talk to you guys. I hope this brought some joy to you. First of all, I hope this made you happy today. And you guys are already talking about all the different people. Betty White would be great. Freddie Mercury would be great. Yeah, so get your the wheels turning and think about the people you'd like to talk to and get insight from, right? This is about love, joy, insight. What do they have to say, right? All right, take care, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging out, for showing up on this first show. Be sure to do a thumbs up if you liked it so that I know that you did. And at YouTube, I'm like, I never say like, do thumbs up. I think it's fine. You have to do that on YouTube, but just for my own knowing that you like the show, I'd be great. All right. Thank you, everyone. Bye.